I wish I knew more about deaf.
I wish I got to learn earlier.
I wish kids were taught sign language at school.
These are parents who now know the importance of early detection and intervention, especially through sign language. And since they came to Lugha Ishara, they have witnessed tangible developmental changes in their children.
Because of the hangout hub at Lugha Ishara, my son Emmanuel is able to stand before people. He has gained that courage. It also improves his sign language.
But what about those that still don't know? Something needs to be done. Deafness needs to be detected early, followed by appropriate early intervention to give deaf children an equal chance to maximize their potential. Sign language ought to be available to these children and their families early enough, and the communities in which they live need to become inclusive. And one way they can do this is by learning the language that they speak.
My name is Rehab Kirito. I'm a mama. Here is my son. He's there. Our society is not really ready for the day. Though we may say that sign language is accepted now even in our constitution, not so many people know how to communicate to the deaf people. So when we send them out there to the society cannot be able to communicate with them. So I may say that we have to create awareness for the society.
The pain of a child left out from language acquisition and the inevitable yet adverse consequences of it are what Lugha Ishara's CEO and co-founder Nancy Maina encountered when working in a program for deaf youth economic empowerment 5 years ago.
Within the program, I met a deaf young lady. She was a bit different from the other deaf people, meaning she was a bit reserved, shy. She wasn't necessarily having such a connection with the rest of the young deaf people. So yeah, as part of the program, I sort of picked her out so that I can have a relationship, so that I understand what's happening. So one of the days I asked her to go to the bank as a way of connection, doing practical things. So I wanted some money. Then I went to the ATM, I got the money, and then she was outside, of course, it was my ATM. And then now she asked me, where did you get the money from? I said, an ATM. She said, an ATM? I'm like, yeah, an ATM. I said, I don't understand. So I said, you don't know what an ATM? She said, she's never seen an ATM. So for me, that was the shock. I was like, huh? So I went in and I showed her, and then later I probed further. So then I later learned that she was one of the deaf children that had been hidden by the parent. So she was highly protected, and so she didn't have basic life skills.
Wageni wakaribishwa Lugha Ishara, hakuna matata.
Lugha Ishara was born in 2018 with a slight nudge from our first individual donor, Father Sahaya Salvom. Lugha Ishara was registered as a community-based organization. The first event, dubbed the Baby Signing Competition, was what first brought parents together.
We wanted to confirm that parents are willing to learn and also willing to allow their children access sign language.
After the Baby Signing Competition, this communion resulted in the regular Deaf Hub, now called the Hangout Hub, a space where deaf children and their families can meet and engage with other children, learn sign language, and access therapy.
Grapes, watermelon, and lemon, and ice cream.
Before Winnie Buyu, the mother of 2 deaf children, encountered Lugha Ishara, she thought she was alone. But when she joined the Lugha Ishara community, not only did she find a place where the journey is eased by counselors and peers, but also her children always look forward to Hangout Hub on Saturdays because there they are fully included.
Mimi
nikiwa kwa nyumba, yani nilikuanga nikiona saa zingine mimi ndio niko na mtoto. Yani mimi tu ndio niko na watoto deaf. Hakuna wengine wako na watoto deaf kwa hii dunia. Saturday siku ya lugha ishara, Clara atafurahi. Tena yeye ataanza kukuambia on Wednesday, Mami, remember Saturday lugha ishara.
This had been the story for many other parents who pretty much groped in the dark spaces of loneliness, lack of information, and having to handle the exclusion that their deaf children often experience.
Sometimes people get carried away by his looks. Not by his looks, but by how warm and kind and, he radiates that welcome. You just want to have him in your circle. And so it's easy for people to want to cuddle him, but that's not what he needs, because you also don't cuddle typically hearing children for all their lives. You create a balance towards ensuring that they are well-trained, well-disciplined children and well-loved at the same time. Why I go to the Hangout Hub is because it's a place where he's understood. I don't have to go and explain. You remember when I was giving my story of the church, and you have to go, when you find a person, you have to go and explain to them how to accommodate him. This is already the standard at the Hangout Hub.
My sign language I've learned from Lugha Ishara. Yeah. That it's like formal. We go to class, we learn ABCD. Yeah, so I've got a few words, expressions, Yeah.
Lugha Ishara for me, I can say was divine connection. Was the prayer answered for me? Because I was looking for a place. I don't know what I was looking, but I was looking for something. And Lugha Ishara was that thing. So for me, Lugha Ishara has really given us muscles. God has helped Lugha Ishara to give us muscles.
The joy of these parents is further fulfilled by the Talent Academy, another of Lugha Ishara's programs whose purpose is to develop and showcase the talents of the children.
I'm happy about my son. Though he's deaf, there are so many things he does that make me as a parent feel proud. One, he has great talent. He likes drawing. So when I see him doing perfect drawing, I feel so proud as a parent.
With the end goal of having a world where deaf children fully thrive in all spheres of life, Lugha Ishara is keen on creating an inclusive environment for the children to ensure meaningful exposure to sign language and other enabling factors to support their language development and ultimately holistic development. The Hangout Hub and Talent Academy have been a plug for the families of deaf children to learn sign language, as they are the children's immediate community.
By coming to Lugha Ishara, I've been able to encounter parents with deaf children. We have encouraged one another. I've known that I'm not the only parent with this kind of child. We have shared stories of our journeys with deaf children. Most of the time, we even know how to handle these children.
To further influence the ecosystem within which deaf children exist, Lugha Ishara has provided affordable Kenyan Sign Language lessons open to everyone that can be accessed through edtech platforms such as VD or live online. Need for language acquisition tested and proven, Lugha Ishara went further back to the root of the problem: detection.
So you find the challenge mainly is that screening for deafness is not automatic in many hospitals. Actually, probably all the hospitals do not naturally test for deafness. And even when a mother knows that their child is deaf, most of the time they wouldn't think that their child is deaf at all. So they would, wait, what have you, and especially if it's a boy, they would say, boys take time. And then most of the children who are deaf are born by hearing parents who have never experienced deafness. So there's no way they would think their child is deaf. So, and even when a mother actually really suspects that their child is deaf, they'll probably take at least 4 medical tests, hearing tests, within a span of 2 years. Whereas that's the same time that deaf child needs to be to have full and meaningful access to sign language. And if they don't, then there's a part of the brain that needs to be stimulated. So the reason you and I are having this conversation is because we have language and we had stimulation for language, meaning we had an accessible language that was regularly used between the child and the people around them. So that doesn't happen to deaf children because they're deaf, the mother is speaking, they don't have a solution, so the part of the brain shrinks, and then it's irreversible. So you'll find that then the deaf child will never have language. So we call that language deprivation. And so as the mother is figuring out what to do, that's where now Lugha Ishara comes in to lessen the journey. And first of all, to create awareness around the need for language development for deaf children within the language development phase, when the brain is still has plasticity for stimulation.
Did you know that a child's brain is 90% developed by age 5? This is why language foundation must happen from ages 0 to 5. There are different ways you can start building a language foundation with your deaf child.
Language deprivation, the problem that Lugha Ishara exists to solve, happens because deafness is detected late, and even when it is finally diagnosed, intervention comes in late, denying the child the chance to acquire language when their brain still has the plasticity for language stimulation. Partnership has been a critical part of this journey. One such partnership has been that with Gertrude's Children's Hospital, the most established pediatric hospital in Eastern and Central Africa, providing healthcare to children in Kenya as well as those referred from neighboring countries. This partnership has supported the incubation and resultant growth of Lugha Ishara's Hangout Hub and Talent Academy, and now the pioneering work of early detection and intervention for deafness. Hence, it will see the rollout of an innovation that puts all these parts together and offers an end-to-end program from screening, detection, information, therapy, and a variety of intervention methods. The impact of Lugha Ishara has seen some parents end up as volunteers in the organization, citing the passion to join in the fight against language deprivation in deaf children, as well as their own need to help others have it easier than they did themselves.
And so after I lost my job, I thought, okay, really, but then I tried to look for jobs in the sector I was, but they weren't coming. But I thought, okay, maybe this is a sign that I should really be pursuing what it is I want to pursue. And so I approached Nancy to join Lugha Ishara in whatever capacity I can do to help, because now then I was available, I could be able to fully commit.
Lugha Ishara has really helped me help other parents. When I meet parents of the deaf at that point, I'm able to engage where they are at emotionally. You know, they consult you on schools. Do I need to move? Which school is the best for the deaf? And that way I'm able to help them, because my daughter is now 9, so I have 5 years experience of being with her. So I'm able to help a person who is at 1 year experience being with a deaf child.
It's been quite the journey, but definitely worth every sweat. Fadhili, Steph, Grace, Laura, Austin, Clara, and many other children have a right to live a full life, and their human right translates to a responsibility on our part. We must do what it takes. Will you join us? Reach out to us, learn sign language, and be part of the Sign Language Champ movement. Support us in the quest to end language deprivation. Follow us on our socials or call us up. Connect, relate, enjoy.